Any thoughts about Ken Wilber's work?
I'm crazy about him, and I'm so surprised at how often he comes up. I just heard from an academic, though, who said, you mentioned him in your book, but I'm getting a PhD, and I was alarmed at his academic credentials. So do you have anybody else who is saying the same thing who has better credentials? Yeah, it was just an interest. I said, that's why I didn't get one. It was an interesting, but he comes up a lot, doesn't he? What do you think? Ken Wilber, but there's a guy who writes suspense novels named that. This isn't who we're talking about.
So I have read almost everything Ken Wilber has written. I love Ken Wilber. I don't understand Ken Wilber. It's like, does it have to be this complicated? I don't know, but it's way over my head. But the best, there are two books I love of his. One is Grit and Grace, with have I got their name?
Grace and Grit. Yeah.
Grace and Grit. So about living with the dying of his wife. It was just a powerful book. And then there's another book, which is
One Taste.
One Taste, which is, tell me about One Taste, because it's the anthology book, right?
It's just shorter bits, so you don't have to hang with it for a long time. And One Taste is where he talks about two dominant functions of any religion, and one translates the world. He doesn't diss these, but one translates the world to increase your comfort in it, make you more able to be in the world. And he says, and that is the most appealing function. But the other one is to take you to pieces, to take you apart. And he said that much of modern spirituality is really the ego in drag. And he said that enlightenment is not about the self being fulfilled, it's about the self being made toast. And I love that, and that was in One Taste. Your turn. Don't like him?
I don't
know.
feel that no, of course I know Ken Wilber's work, but I don't feel like I can speak in any kind of intelligent fashion about
Oh,
Ken
that
Wilber.
didn't stop me. Do you have anything you want to, is that okay? Okay. Integral meditation. And it's Wilber, if you're trying to tell him apart from the guy who spells it with a U.
I know that we're supposed to ask questions, but I came here for, in part, one reason, to say something to Mirabai, and time has made it impossible. So if you don't mind, there's an intimate comment. Rami mentioned the foreword that you wrote for World Wisdom Bible. I received it from him. He sent it to me by email just before lighting the candles on Shabbat. I read it. I read it again. I wiped the tears away. And thank you for telling me about how important the work Rami and I have been able to do together was. And I thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Frank. I'll have to reread that.
I'd like to know what favorite book you have on each of your nightstands at home.
That might be a good ending.
Ed, what's the book I'm reading right now?
In Love with the World.
In Love with the World, about a Tibetan tulku, who escaped from his monastery one night to go live in the world for 4 years. I've just started it. It's blowing me away. But that's the best I can do, In Love with the World.
So I write spiritual books, but I don't read them. I find them mostly boring and pretentious, except for yours. So what I do read is good literary fiction and women's memoirs. So I can't remember what I'm reading right now. I know I just finished another Terry Tempest Williams book. Oh, the one about the national parks. Anybody remember the title? It's like a love poem to all of the national parks of America. And Who's the new poet laureate? Joy Harjo. I'm reading her memoir right this minute.
Which is, her memoir.
She's a memoir.
Joe Harjo, first Native American Poet Laureate of the U.S.
Yeah, from New Mexico, our home state. Yeah, it's gorgeous, as you might imagine. What is it? No, it just came out. That's an older one. It's an actual narrative memoir about her life. Yes, Crazy Brave. Yes. Crazy Brave. Kind of like wild mercy, wild surrender, holy envy, and surrender. Crazy Brave.
I read comic books. On my nightstand, I have a stack of comic books. Every Wednesday, I go to the comic book store, and I have friends there, and we hang out. I love Doctor Strange comics. I don't know if you know who that is, but Doctor Strange was a surgeon, and this has been out for decades, Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange was a surgeon who had a car accident, lost the use of his hands, went to Tibet to find someone who could heal him, and called the Ancient One, and the Ancient One taught him the mysteries of Tibet, and he becomes the sorcerer supreme, defending Earth and the environment in all the various dimensions from the evils that come through. That's what I like to read, is comic books, So,
Do you have a favorite superhero?
Yeah, I mean, superheroes are okay. I mean, Batman, I would say, but I like the non-superheroes, the non-superheroes, the regular people who just do extraordinary things. I mean, there's an interesting series that just started called American Jesus, and it's about this. I think she's a Puerto Rican young woman around 17 who suddenly gets pregnant. She has a black boyfriend, but that's not why she's pregnant. She's a virgin, and she's carrying the Messiah. Of course, no one believes that. And there's another person who's carrying the Antichrist. And I haven't read far enough into it, but I think they go to the same preschool. I made that part up.
Uh-oh, we're losing them.
Okay, this is the last question.
This is very unfocused, but it's going in my mind. I've been in the Presbyterian Church my whole life. I was born next to a parsonage, and I served 50 years of really good ministry. It seems to me as though the church is too bent with asking its members, make sure to come on Sunday, make your contribution, do something for scouting, and it's too little and it's too insignificant. Where is the challenge? And why are we not asking more of ourselves? A very good friend of mine, whenever I would bump into him, he would say, Robert, where are you hurling the moral ounces of your being? Where are you putting yourself on the line? And I do not know many churches that are taking the risk, that finding the courage and getting out there. Whatever the message of the Holy One is about, it's not come inside on Saturday or Sunday or Monday night or whatever, but find something and go out. Go forth. And I am stumped with that, and I would welcome your responses.
So, as an outsider, and maybe we should let you have the last word because you can salvage everything. But as an outsider, and I think this is from John Stewart, Frank told me this, Christianity for me is Matthew 25, right? What you do to the least of these, you do to me. So you have a choice if you're a Christian. Do you take Jesus seriously, or do you think he's full of crap? Most Oh, now I went too far, most. Lots of people who call themselves Christians, lots of churches that call themselves Christian churches, they don't listen to Jesus. They listen to someone else. And it's not about doing unto the least of these. It's about fulfilling some doctrinal ideal. It's about fulfilling some institutional requirements. Christianity should be the most radical religion on the planet, and I don't see it. That's a response to what you said. There was no question there, really, but I love Jesus too much to leave him to the church.
We've come to the end of our evening, but not to the end of the conversation, which will go on and on and on. I did ask if we could end with music as we began, but I don't know for sure what the answer is.
Yes, we can. Does that sound familiar? Take
Did
it
it
away,
really?
gentlemen.
So, a song to soften us going out, and because I want the music and the gathered silence to be the last, may I say a blessing? The blessings of heaven, the blessings of earth, the blessings of sea and sky on those we love this day, and on every human family, on every family. The gifts of heaven, the gifts of earth, the gifts of sea and of sky be yours this day, forevermore.